with a
Good morning,
with
sir.
a
Morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
wish you a happy new year. Though I wish again, I'm wishing you
Thank you,
a
sir.
happy
Wish
new
you the
year.
same.
Thank you and same to you.
Thank you, sir. Wish you the same.
Morning,
O-
sir.
Okay,
Wish you the same.
okay. Today,
Sir, wish you the same, sir.
thank you all. Okay. Now today's topic we are going to discuss is about emotional and self-awareness skills. If you remember last time, we discussed a few of the skills like problem solving. Then we thought about critical thinking and communication skills, if you remember. Today we'll be doing something more on uh, management of emotions, then self-awareness, and if we get some more time, we are going to talk about role play. So these are the again important life skills which are again advocated by WHO for our day-to-day living, both at our professional and personal life. So we start with today the concept of emotions, how important they are in our life, and if we are not able to control our emotions, what is going to happen? So one by one we'll be discussing. So when you talk about emotions, the technical definition of emotions are, by the way, slides are moving, right?
Yes, sir. First
Yes,
slide.
sir.
Moving.
Okay. Okay. So emotions are technically defined as a stirred up state of the organism when we agitate, when we go upset, whether in a, what you call good mood or bad mood, anything can happen. So when we express those feelings, they are now technically called as emotions. So that's why emotions are referred as stirred up state of the organism, and they are very much conscious in nature, and sometimes they go out of our control, like anger, or sometimes we are inside it like fear. And it's highly subjective. Why we say subjective? Because it is based on the it's based on the emotionality of the individual. So this is where, what you call, when you talk about
ಎಮೋಷನ್ಸ್ ಕೇಳ ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತೈತಲ್ಲ.
Mr. Ravishankar, can you mute? Okay, now they are subjective experience as a strong feelings, and they're directed towards an object or an individual, and there will be a lot of changes which would happen in our body, and it can be internal like physiological or outward expressions like behavioral changes which you can see. But there are, again, when we talk about these emotions, we basically talk about two types of emotions. One is called as primary emotions, and one is called as a secondary emotions. So when you talk about primary emotions, they are directly visible and observable by others. That is more important. So happiness, crying, what you call sadness, all by looking at another person, we can easily make out the idea of what you call that person is not happy. If the person is crying, or if the person is happy, you can say the person is in an elated mood. These are primary, which are directly on anger condition. But there are some secondary emotions which are not what you call seen directly, but they are felt only by the person who is feeling it. For example, jealousy, hatredness, love, all these feelings which are not seen outwardly open, but they are called as hidden ones, but it is experienced, so then it's called as secondary emotions. So depending upon the conditions, we may express either primary emotions or secondary emotions, but both of them will have impact on our body and mind. So as a teacher, we should have what you call a lot of things related to emotions and controlling emotions. So that's why I'm going to bring a concept called as emotional intelligence. So when you talk about emotional intelligence, the idea is very simple, because in the changing global scenario, in any of the what you call sections of what you call sectors of employment, whether it could be corporate sector, IT, BPO, or even some of the private sectors, now they're focusing more on emotional intelligence rather than traditional intelligence. And they don't have much what you call importance to the what you call so-called CGPA, or the marks which are secured by the individual or the what you call the person who has applied for a post. Here the more information and more focus is given on emotional intelligence of an person. So now when you talk about emotional intelligence, the main idea here is that can we understand our own emotions? Then can we understand others' emotions too? And then behave accordingly. That is more important. That's part of emotional intelligence. Again, I'm reporting. When we say it is like emotional intelligence, try to understand our own emotions. Try to understand other emotions, others. Then we have to behave accordingly. So sometimes what happens, we try to understand our emotions, but we don't want to try to understand other emotions. This might end up in some problems. So this is where you try to understand emotions of the other person and behave accordingly. And remember, because when you say traditional intelligence, it stops somewhere. Again, there's a bit controversy. Traditional intelligence stops somewhere. They say research says around 25 years, but emotional intelligence never stops growing, because we always keep on evolving. And when you talk about emotional intelligence, or technically called as the EQ or emotional quotient, which to be nurtured all the time, when it's nurtured all the time, when you're able to understand others, automatically you change your emotions by understanding your own emotions. Then the way of management things are much easier. So that's the idea behind emotional intelligence. And these are the elements of emotional intelligence as given by Goleman. Now, when you talk about the Goleman part, he gives what you call a broad definition of emotional intelligence, including five elements. One is self-awareness, like how much we are aware of it, which we will be discussing later. Then is self-regulation, how much we can control ourselves. Then the motivation part, like how much is our internal drive to achieve something. Then empathy, it is not just feeling for others, it is just feeling exactly as other person feels, where empathetic condition. Then how good you are in social skills, or we say skill sets which are related to society and social interactions. All these amounts to elements of emotional intelligence. We'll be discussing more about that later, self-awareness and all as a separate entity. So, but these are the five major elements of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. But why they are important? That is more important to understand. So, recent research has said emotional intelligence is the strongest predictor of workplace performance. To get the work done and even get and to work more, I think emotional intelligence plays a major role. Like understanding your own colleague and your own subordinates, by understanding their feelings, I think it's, and then accordingly responding, I think there will be with you where you are using a social skill set also. So the research has already said it's a very big predictor of workplace performance. Then today there, if you are seeing some top performance in the world, 90% of the top performers have high emotional intelligence. That's again recorded. Then people with average IQs perform those with the highest IQs 70% of the time. That's also what you call within IQ classification. Now, lot of research has said that AI is one of the critical factor in identifying and matching the performance when compared to others. So, when you talk about emotional intelligence, it has a biggest impact on the performance part of it, especially when it comes to the classroom part. It is not just going and teaching. So, understanding the feelings of the students and dealing accordingly, and sometimes you may have to change the tone of your what you call presentation depending upon the student's mentality. So the more you understand students mentality, it is much easier to adapt to them. At the same time, understanding your own mentality, keeping all those what you call issues like self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, and all those things, then the management of the class is much easier compared to a teacher who is having less emotional intelligence. So that's the idea behind emotional intelligence. Then when you talk about emotional quotient, it is a what you call, if you see the picture, the things are very clear. It's a part of the whole person. You cannot separate all these things. For example, when IQ and EQ are combined along with the personality, that would be a best combination to work. So IQ determines what you call your expertise in what you call in the subject. There's a knowledge part and what you call how to manage better. Like when you talk about IQ, it is basically three things. The first part is one is to think rationally, to act purposefully, and to deal effectively. So these three things, when they constitute IQ, that is what you call your expertise, which you bring to your work. Then you got personality. What kind of person you are while you are working. Then your EQ matters. Like how can you make the most of both your expertise and your personality so that you are working better and you are getting the work done better from others too. So it's a complex interaction between these three which makes the workplace performance as a key part of a whole person. So that's why the idea of emotional intelligence takes a major step or major role in today's workplaces. So we're moving on ahead. What are the characteristics of emotionally intelligent people? You can have a checklist. Do you understand your own feelings or you just jump into things without knowing what you are? So knowing one's feelings is more important. Then managing emotions and feeling appropriate, which we already discussed, also is the second part of it. Able to motivate self. That's the first thing. Are you able to motivate yourself or even in our teaching job? Are we just bored? That means we are lacking somewhere what you call emotional intelligence. So how that motivating self should come. So here I'm not talking about impressing students. No, here I'm talking about first motivate oneself. So how that motivation comes to make your class better, to make your class more attractive, to make your class more knowledgeable, so much so that the students will be waiting for your next class. Because the way you interact with the students and if you use emotional intelligence, if you feel their emotional pulse, and accordingly if you teach, and there are some students you must already have some experience, they must have openly told you, sir, we don't want to go to next class or others class, can you continue your class so that we want to listen to you more. That means you have gained something out of your students, that kind of what you call concern and a kind of affection that our teacher is needed more, and that is done by through motivating self indirectly. Once you are motivated, you can even motivate others too. Then the next important aspect is ability to persist in face of frustration. So many times we go berserk, we just go out of our control when we are frustrated. But can you control that what you call anger? Can you manage that anger or the frustration? Of course, there is no person in this world without getting anger or anger mood. Yes, but can we control that anger? The moment you are able to control your anger, I think you are into emotional intelligence. Then ability to control impulses and delay gratifications. Sometimes some people speak in such a way that you just go and hit them and blast them. That is the impulse you are going to get. But can you control that? Can you think why the person is what you call shouting at you? Why the person is scolding you? Before you scold him back or shouting back, can you have some kind of introspection? What makes this person to what you call act negatively with me? That is the beginning of introspection and beginning of what you call identifying yourself. That something is it something wrong in you, so that the other person is scolding you or shouting or having negativity on you, rather than just having an impulse like since he doesn't or she doesn't like you, you have to get a revenge on it. No, if you think of a revenge, then I don't think you are considered as an emotionally intelligent person. Then delay gratification. So sometimes what happens is we need sometimes the quick results. Yes, definitely it's not a good idea because sometimes it's not possible. So you can wait. So that calls the patience. That calls for a big patience. Okay, those that's what call some people in any of the situations they don't get provocated. You must have seen some people, they don't get provocated. Even if the other person is shouting, blasting, they just laugh. And then after some time, the person who shouted himself feels shame or guilty that the other person is not even what you call showing any negative feelings or negative emotions. I have unnecessarily what you call wasted my energy on this person. So even the delay in gratification can have a lot of impact. Then ability to empathize with others. This is where a major catch point in emotion intelligence. The one thing is what you call when you talk about ability to empathize with others, it could be your own colleague or it could be your subordinate. So when the person is in distress, can you go and speak to them? Can you see what is happening? Can you say, may I help you somehow? That means what? You are trying to empathize. The person may be in distress or in trouble. So the moment you go and talk to the person or discuss with the person, he gets a lot of what you call positive feelings, and there could be a lot of ventilation from his side, so that he can tell a lot of what you call things which has happened to him. Now you can empathize, you can share the same feelings, and you can support him. And remember, this will have a lot of impact for you in the future, that whenever you are in distress, the other person you helped in a sincere way would be there for your help. So this is where we talk about ability to empathize with others, and this can what you call have a lot of impact in the future, where it can help you in one or other ways. Then capacity to hope. This is more important. So sometimes what happens, we don't get the things what you call to happen as we wish. Let's not get what you call a pessimist in nature, because sometimes what happens, too much of pessimism is might lead to negative emotions, and negative emotions might affect your body in different ways, and too many negative emotions might affect your body and physiology, leading to psychosomatic disorders, which is not a good idea. So be what you call optimistic, so that tomorrow is going to be good. So that's why I say, when we say happy new year, okay, let the new year be what you call with full of what you call new opportunities, full of happenings. Why we say that? It's a capacity to hope. We really don't know what is going to happen, but we go with that hope. That's again indicator of emotional intelligence. Then social competencies, how good you are managing a social situation. So it's a concept of social intelligence, but still social competence matters what you call here, where you're trying to understand a crowd or understanding a group of people, like try to understand a group of students. So this is where what you call try to understand their feelings, and you try to what you call understand their feelings, rather than they many times we expect others to understand us. It could be at a family level. We always say, okay, people are not understood me. Why do you expect that? Have we understood them? So that's where the social competencies would come. Then, before getting into that, okay, one more thing I want to tell you. A person with high emotional intelligence always remember minor details. Please remember this. The moment you remember minor details of a person or some small events, and if you repeat that, I think they're really overwhelmed with your what you call concern. What even by remembering minor details? It is nothing but you have what you call given a lot of concentration even to a minor details which you are remembering after a few days or few months, and when you repeat that to the other person, that person will be really joyous, thinking that the amount of concern you have on the other person, now that is nothing but you are sharing sympathy, and both sympathy and empathy. So that's the idea, where by being emotionally good or emotionally intelligent. Then comes what you call uh, our emotions, what you call, are influenced by kind of perceptions we do. This is what I said. Later we're going to talk about anger management, how you perceive the situation.
Confident.
So when our emotions are influenced by kind of perceptions we do, remember, emotion is a feeling part, perception is a sense organ which is giving you the inputs. When they have the interaction between them, then there will be some biological process of the brain which could be right or which could be wrong. So just now I'm going to play a video. I'll just ask the question later. So just what you call, Just watch this video. Are you able to see the video?
No, sir.
No,
Huh?
sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Just 1 minute.
That slide, our emotions are influenced by kind of perception. That slide is being.
You're not able
okay,
to see
sir.
the video.
No, sir.
Okay, 1 minute, 1 minute.
Sir, it's not audible, sir. Your voice is not audible, sir.
Just 1 minute, just 1 minute.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay. ಇಲ್ಲ.
Are you able to see now?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay,
Same
I'll do one
slide,
thing.
sir.
Okay, I'll do one thing. Maybe after the break, maybe in the afternoon, this one, second session, I'll try to show you. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So this
Okay,
is
sir.
where I wanted to say how our emotions are influenced by kind of perception. But anyway, that's I'll try to manage in the second session. Now look into this slide. Remember, this is referred to anger as well as our emotions. They distort our perception. So when you are in fear or anger, don't trust your gut. Don't trust your feelings until you are calmed down. Because usually we say, psychologists we say, when you are too happy or when you are too angry, don't declare anything. It could be in happiness or it could be anger. Don't take a decision, don't take a judgment, or don't make a judgment. This has a lot of impact on the what you call your future, because it could be like when you're happiness, you are declaring something which you are not able to fulfill, or when you are very much angry, you're and you do something act which cannot be reverted back. So that's why we psychologists usually say, don't take any decision or any judgment when you're too happy or when you're too angry, because it can lead to later problems. So fear and anger, they distort our perception. So don't trust your feelings until you calm down. So before you do something, try to calm down. Then how to increase your own EQ when you talk about emotional quotient? So one thing is you have to conduct a personal inventory, which gives your own what you call idea about what is good about you, what is bad about you, and how it is useful for others. Your own traits, your own personality. All of us have got what you call positives and negatives, or merits or demerits, or weaknesses and what you call good points. Now, can you make a personal inventory? Then analyze the setting and identify skills needed. Now now your what you call the setting for you is a classroom setting, and at home it's a home setting. And what are the skills are needed? That is more important. The moment you require what you call the skills part, remember it's not only just teaching skills, uh, teaching with understanding, teaching with giving a lot of knowledge, at the same time understanding the students what you call level of understanding knowledge, all that. And enlist trusted friends, because we have many friends, but how many of the really good ones are trusted friends? That is more important. Then focus on a few competencies, that is more important. You cannot be master of all and jack of none. So in which of the aspects which you identified with the personal inventory, now focus on them and those competencies and develop on them. That is more important. When you talk about focusing on a competence which you are having expertise, be too good in that. To make that, you require practice, and again practice. So more you try to understand yourself, practice. More you try to others, practice. Regulate, motivate, all those things. Practice makes you better in your IQ. Then be observant and reflective. What do you mean by observant? Observant not only for what you call negative things, observant for even for good things. And reflective. So instant reactions which you give may not be sometimes useful. So your reflection should come depending on the situation. So that's why be observant, whether your intervention is required or not. Sometimes what happens, you have seen few of the instances, people unnecessarily intervenes in the third person's interests or jobs, and they get blasted. And it has happened when two people start fighting, the person who came for negotiation, he was killed or he was attacked. So why? Because he didn't know the severity of the issue, and thereby that may happen. Then, as I discussed already, don't expect immediate results. Now this is more important, because uh, expecting immediate results leads to a kind of what you call we say when you talk about immediate result and expecting them immediate, what is going to happen is it might end up in a negative mood when you don't get them. So don't be what you call a person jumping into things that expecting results too fast. So that might lead to some negatives in you. Learn from our mistakes is another thing. Few of us will not do. We have done a mistake earlier. All of us are bound to do a mistake. But have you learned that okay, this kind of mistake I should not do it? Because when you talk about mistakes, please understand a small mistake also gives us a lesson that what we have or what I or you have done is wrong, which is not appropriate. So that was a lesson we have to carry, so that next time we should not do it. But there are people who repeatedly do the same mistake again and again. I don't consider they have got a high emotional IQ. Then acknowledging our successes. Now this is what I call another important part, where share the success with others. Share the what you call the what you call. It's not that we are putting responsibility on others, and when something happens wrong, we blame them. That's a negative way. But when some success comes, we want to take the success alone. We don't want to take others also into the scene. That also can happen. The moment you do that, it can happen in at any level, at the teaching level or college level or in any level. When something wrong happens, you want to blame the our subordinates or colleagues. But when you achieve some success, then you don't want to acknowledge them, so you want to take it as alone. So what's going to happen in this case? Next time they wait and they don't help you out because you are not acknowledged them previously. So that makes your success down now. So be careful. So whenever there is a success, what you call, please be aware that acknowledge your success, and those persons are responsible for it. And even a minor contribution from anyone can, and if you acknowledge that, yes, definitely, okay, there will be good things. Then how you develop. It depends upon two things of majorly. One is awareness about ourselves, another one is the action part of it. And with the self and others, we'll be discussing about 4 quadrants. So when self and awareness combined, remember, when the self and awareness, now it leads to emotional self-awareness. Now, when I talk about that, analyze yourself. Who am I? Not a philosophical question. A lot of in philosophy, and I'll say, who am I? Nan yaru. That's not the idea. Here, whom am I practically talking about, and what are my potential areas of development? Where I'm thrive better, where I can do better. That is more important. Where I cannot put my hands in each and every field. Which field or which area I'm good at. That is the self-awareness through emotions. The same thing when it comes to the others. I'm shifting it to social awareness. So now emotional self-awareness, now switch over to social awareness. How can I transform my perspective so that I can understand and value others? So when I started with my own areas of development, and that part I want to put on the perspective, and how can I transfer that so that I can understand others and the value of that. That also more important. So this is where awareness goes with the others along with the societal part. Then second is action part. Now when action and self is involved, then it becomes emotional self-control. Now how can I self-regulate my emotions? Yes, we do get angry. For sometimes unnecessary people are targeted us. Yes, definitely we get angry, but still, can we regulate ourselves so that even in the future, I think I am right and effective, so that I'm just keeping mentally calm, psychologically patient. Yes, we can do it. And the last part is action with others. Now it directly gets into the social skills. Now where you are trying to build a team and create a constructive work relationship. Can in your own department or in your college, yes, action with the societal or your own group can have a lot of positive impact rather than emotional impact. That's why some teachers are very popular in the college. Why? Because they're so good with the students as well they're so good with the their colleagues. Now what that make happens, because they have that capacity to build teams, and they create a very good constructive work relationship. That is more important. And if you are able to develop that, definitely you will be having a high emotional quotient. Now let's think of quickly think of two things. What are these characteristics of low EQ and high EQ people? Now think of the negativity of our low EQ person. Many times as a teacher, we should not even think of the first line. If only had a different job. No, teaching job is such a noble job. And we cannot think about that a different job. Then if only had finished graduation, those people are having no job, might think that way. If I only had a handsome or beautiful, this is another thing, especially with the youngsters, that if I were to be handsome or beautiful, again assumptions. If only my spouse had stopped drinking, as usual from wife's side, like my wife, if my husband stops drinking, nowadays the other way too, husband might say, if my wife better stops drinking, then most of the students would think like, if only had been born to rich and famous parents, not possible all the times. If only had good contacts, if only had better friends, if only had married someone else. All this, like if you start thinking, that means it is indicative of a low emotional intelligence or low EQ. See the other side, where the characteristics of high EQ person. A time to be aggressive and time to be passive. Both are required depending on the situation. A time to wait and time to watch. Yes, that's what I say, delay gratification. A time to be together and time to be alone, depending upon the situation. When you are to be together and when you are to be alone. Matters a lot. A time to fight and a time to love. It can happen at your family a lot. Sometimes you need to fight for a good reason, not for a bad reason. And sometimes a time to love, I don't explain much. A time to work and time to play. Yes, you cannot be there all the time teaching. You require some kind of recreation, entertainment, and a quality time. So, time to enjoy yourself as well as a time to work. But don't mix up work with the play and play with the work. So that's where again, a time to cry and a time to laugh. How many of you know those emotional intelligent people, they cry? They may not cry in front of you, but they cry alone. This gives a lot of relief and a time to laugh. Then a time to confront and a time to withdraw, depending on the conditions. Would you confront constructively and a time to withdraw? Think that this is not my cup of tea. I should not be there. A time to speak and time to be silent. You know, you should be knowing when to speak, where to speak, and some situations you should not even open your mouth because you know it might have a negative impact. So usually we say, especially when it comes to the marital counseling and all, we speak when both the spouses are fighting in a loud voice. The advice is let the one of the spouse be silent. Now this has a lot of impact. Why? Because if both of them are start fighting, both the husband and wife continuously, it will never end up. Suppose one person becomes silent, one of them, I think that gives no scope for the other person to continue. It can happen with their colleagues also. But later you can pacify the person. What made you to talk like this? Now that shows that you're emotional intelligent. You have tried to understand the other person's what you call mentality. Then a time to be patient and time to decide. Yes, these are where what you call when to keep quiet and when to have a decision making. All these what you call characteristics of high EQ person. Now this is a kind of checklist for you also that how you are going to manage the situation having a low IQ or high IQ, and I already have said how to develop IQ also. Now when you talk about emotions and emotions come together with the anger, and anger management are the prime thing today in any of the sectors. But remember, as I said in the beginning, there is no person without anger or anger expressions. It's one of the most basic emotion of an individual. Tell me any of the teachers there who are participating in this talk. There are almost 54 or 55. Anybody has not got angry so far in your lifetime? No, no. Everybody has got angry for in one or other situation, either in what you call low intensity or high intensity. You must have
Yes,
thrown
sir.
your you must have thrown your mobile. You must have hit your kid. You must have what you call hit the what you call glass. And whenever we are get angry and when the other person is so much stronger than us, we have made a self anger on ourselves. We hit ourselves. All that thing we have done. So we call it as a most basic emotion. I consider, and if the person doesn't experience anger, I don't think he's a real person. So idea here is you are going to feel how you feel and how you act is up to you, because sometimes they get angry, but there is two types of anger. One is which are shown outwardly, that is external anger or outward anger expressions. There is some what you call anger which is hidden. You are getting so angry but you don't show it. Maybe that anger may cause a lot of what you call negatives in your physiology later. So that also can happen. So that is why it is very important when to be angry, where to be angry. That matters a lot. Now, as I said, it's a basic human emotional response experienced by all the people, no exceptions. But how it comes? By a threat, by a perceived threat, real or imaginary, or when you have injustice towards you. When your friend got promotion for no reason and you are not getting a promotion, definitely get angry. When you are unnecessarily punished, when you get unnecessarily scoldings for no reason and you think that it's an injustice for you, yes, you get angry. When you hurt for no reason or frustration, you want to achieve something but somebody is blocking you all the time, definitely it leads to anger. It could be in your family life or professional life. But remember, anger is very subjective. It varies from person to person and from situation to situation. That's also more important, because sometimes though you are angry, you are not going to express your anger, especially with your higher officials, because you know if you get angry and with your higher officials, then you know the effects. So even if you get angry, the situation makes you not to get angry, but that anger might come what you call in a different way. But remember, all this is a feeling of displeasure with someone or something. Need not be all the time on a person, it could be on an object. Then it comes with the urge with the fight back. Yes, I have to do something. So be careful about it. Now I am going to show you a table. Please look into this table, which gives a lot of importance, like how the levels of anger escalation comes. And what happens? This is more important. This is not only in your professional life, even in your personal life. So the levels of anger escalation, there could be healthy anger, there could be mild anger, there could be serious anger, there could be extreme anger. So what happens and how it affects your psychology, that is more important. Think that we start with the healthy side. You are calm and happy most of the time, which I would expect as a teacher. When a mild anger, you are not happy as you want to be. Yes, I want to be happy, but because of the mild anger, I am not happy. Then, because of that, if it's shifted to seriousness, I am irritated most of the time. Some teachers are like that. They're irritated most of the time. Then at the extreme level, it might lead to anger about something. Always angry. They look at a person and you get angry for no reason. But that's extreme condition. It could be your what you call your student, it could be your colleague, or the moment you look at them, you get angry for no reason. So the idea here is from calmness to losing happiness to irritation to getting angry all the time, which from levels increase. Not a good idea. Be on healthy side. On the second line, we are seeing that frustration part. Yes, frustration is part of life. We can't get all the things. The frustration comes when you are not able to reach the desired goal, and when there are several obstacles are there. We get frustrated sometimes, but it doesn't last much with the healthy mind. They say it's okay. Okay, there's no problem at all. Okay, so manageable. Okay, but with the mild level of anger escalation, now the person feels irritated and frustrated often. The frustration keeps on coming again. Now it leads to, on a serious level, lot of psychological thinking would come. Okay, lot of psychological negativity on happening in our mind. The moment it further accelerates to extreme level, then there is a negative view of other people, which is not at all a good idea. Because a simple frustration and why you all the time, all the people are bad, all the people are against you. That's the idea. So what happens when all the people think that are against you, they don't like you? I think you change your mentality so that you are slowly moving into the artificial world rather than the reality world. And remember, more getting into artificial world leads to what you call slow or mild level of psychopathology. And if it's not taken care of, it might end up in severe psychopathology, which is not a good idea. See, the third level of healthy mind, we get angry very rarely, but you take effective action. Yes, that's a natural way. We get angry very rarely, but we take effective action. On the mild level, we don't talk about it, we don't discuss about it, we keep the feelings to ourselves. Now, on a serious level, we think that we are victims to the actions of others. Somebody is doing something, and now we are victims to it. Then, my anger escalates out of control on an extreme level. Not a good idea at all. Anger escalates a lot and it goes out of control. Then you come to the expression of all our emotions in an open, healthy manner. That also can be done. We express our emotions in an open and healthy manner. On a mild level, try to avoid and have issues with anxiety and depression. Now, slowly the pathology begins to avoid conflict and you have issues. Because of this, at a serious level, you start lashing out at others too often. For no reason, you will become irritable for others. For minor things, you just blast them. But remember, at this point, your anger is stealing your joy. Whatever you want to be happy, but this anger will not allow you to be happy. So your anger is stealing your joy. Then, at the extreme level, it might happen that you may dangerous to yourself, that is called a self-harm because of the anger, or you may attack others, or people may have killed others just because of a one point called as extreme anger, which has ended up in violence, the violence towards self or violence towards others. So still, I don't say we'll be all the time on a healthy line, but at least should not be on serious or extreme line, because the serious or extreme line are definitely having serious impact on our body physiology, and when the body physiology is affected, I'm going to tell you that this will definitely end up in lot of psychosomatic disorders. And today what we are seeing is what you call lot of psychosomatic disorders are prevailing too much. On a simple level, I'm talking about the blood pressure or so-called sugar complaints or diabetes mellitus. Basically, we say it's because of stress, and the stress has what you call pushed by so-called the levels of anger. I still consider you should be on healthy or mild level of anger escalation, definitely not on serious or extreme level of escalation. It has a lot of negatives, and you might be a victim for that. So don't be what you call victim for that. So yes, anger we do get, but can we control? That's the idea. So as I said, anger, too much of anger leads to aggression, that the feeling is turning towards action. Now, remember, knowing the difference between anger and aggression is a major part, because sometimes anger and aggression, they are going together. The more you get angry, the aggressive tendency will be very high. So try to understand the difference between the anger and aggression, because aggression, what happens is in aggression, we the same feeling of aggression is what sorry, the same feeling, the anger is now expressed in a way through what you call anger part. And what happens, because it's one of the what you call negative way in which individuals express anger. Now it might cause a lot of negatives, it might damage, a big damage, with the words fists, weapons we have seen already, but it's virtually always designed to punish. Now what happens in aggression, what is the intention behind? It could be verbal or it could be physical, abusive, or attack. It's intended to threaten or injure the victim's security or self-esteem. Now, what happens in anger, what you call, it inspires powerful, often aggressive feelings and behaviors. Now, that allows us to fight and defend ourselves when we are attacked. So, that is why it's extremely important to recognize the difference between anger and aggression. Otherwise, what is going to happen is you will be the victim of it. They look like similar, but they may occur together also. But remember, all this article, if you start differentiating, things will be much easier. Now, slowly get into the anger producing situations. Can anyone from the crowd tell me when you get angry before getting into the slide? Padmanatha madam, when you get angry?
When the students didn't respond for our question properly, sir.
Okay, then you get angry. Okay, fine. Okay, I'll get back to you. We'll have a serious discussion over this. Yashoda madam, when you get angry?
When I do not feel something is correct. I have expected something, but that won't be.
With your husband, madam, with your husband or with your students?
Whomever, it depends on the situation, sir.
One
Sometimes
specific example. One
family
specific example.
member, sometimes with students.
One
sir.
specific
Sir?
example, madam.
One specific example means sometimes I write on the board, no, sir. I turn.
Yes, madam. Go ahead, madam. Yashoda madam, unmute yourself. Yashoda madam, you are muted. Manya sir, you are online. Manya sir, when you get angry?
Generally, the students are shows some misbehavior.
Yes, sir. Prasad sir, okay, tell me, sir. Okay.
Yes, sir. Generally, when things are not going as per our perception, as we feel, as we want it to go, then that is the time we tend to get angry, sir.
That specific example as a teacher, and it could be at your home also, fine. I'm not telling
Yeah,
that.
in home also. In home also, for example, I expect children to sit and study.
Okay.
and they are watching TV. So
Okay.
that my perception, I wanted them to study. When they are going against what I am thinking, then I tend to get angry. Same in the
Fine,
class
sir.
also.
Fine, sir. Fine, sir. Fine, sir. Okay, Jauragowda, sir. I think you're online.
So I would like to mention.
Yes,
Sir.
Rekha HR, madam. Okay, Rekha, madam.
Sir, when there is no transparency or honesty, that time I will get, sir.
So you get frustrated, right, madam?
Yes, sir.
When okay, you work in a
When there is no
library.
honesty or transparency.
Yeah, when you work in a library, students just come and waste their time, but they don't study hard. They just waste their time. You get
I wish-
angry.
If they are
I
telling
wish to put a
lie, that
specific-
time, sir, especially.
Okay,
I
Jauragowda,
wish to
sir.
give a specific
Thank you.
example.
Jauragowda, sir.
Sir,
Ah,
when the students are shows misbehavior, sir.
okay.
Misbehavior.
Okay, okay. Any
Misbehavior.
misbehavior student?
I wish
Sorry.
to give a specific example.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. Go ahead, madam.
Especially this happens in an examination and invigilation room. We
Okay.
give them some instructions as to not to talk, not to make body movements, or try to do any kind of malpractice. And when purposely say out of their own behavior, they try to peep into someone's book or something, I literally get angry and I shout at them and I tell them I'm going to send you out if you make any more movements like this. So out of that anger, this kind of harsh words comes out.
Okay, okay. Veena, madam. Nobody's talking about the home affairs. Okay.
Student, when they won't listen us, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, in library we tell something, don't talk like that.
Okay.
When they won't listen, then like that
Okay.
time.
Chandrasekhar, sir. When you get angry.
Sir, I get angry when I take the students to field visit when they are not attending and they are not coming. I'll get very angry.
Nanjunda Swami, sir. When you get angry.
Less outcomes result, sir.
Huh?
Less outcome result.
Sir, specific example, please.
So some expecting, sir.
Huh?
Expecting the result.
Okay.
Not poor result.
Okay, at home or at college, sir?
College, sir.
Okay, not at home. You don't get angry at home.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Shruti madam there. Okay, Shruti madam. When you get angry?
Hello, sir.
Yes, madam. When you get angry?
When someone tells lie on me, sir.
Example, madam. Specific.
Question.
Sir, somebody is talking, please. Okay.
Sorry, ಕೊಡ್ತಾರಂತಲ್ಲ ಅವರು. ಸರಿ, okay.
Vikram, sir. Shibarani madam, when you get angry?
Sir, when usually students, in spite of instructing them for many times, also repeat the same mistake, I get angry, sir.
Madam, specific example. Can you go for specific as a teacher?
Specific, like they are on the campus, but still sometimes they don't attend the classes.
They are missing the classes, right? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Even though they are present in the college, they don't come
Okay.
attend the classes.
Okay, they have come to the college, but not for the classes. Then you get angry. Okay.
Not for the classes. Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Vikram, sir. You are online now. When you get angry?
Sir, if the students are talking while we are teaching, I get
Okay.
angry, sir.
If they're asked while talking, or if they ask questions, you get angry. On what occasion?
No, sir. Actually, it's not at all about the questions. They are diverting their attention towards other things when I'm teaching, sir.
Okay. That's a very common way. Okay. Shashikala, madam, did you respond?
Sir.
Sir, I'll come to you. Shashikala, madam.
Yes, sir. If the students are not going to listen for us, sir, and when they are not attending the class within the time, or they are not maintaining time, then also thanks.
Manya, sir, I think whether you responded for this question.
Sir,
I want to respond.
Manya, sir. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Hello, sir. I don't know, sir. It is not thinking.
You're still thinking, sir. You don't get angry. Sir, Atal Bihari Tripathi, sir, when you get angry, sir?
Sir, when things do not go as per our expectations, at the time we feel some kind of angerness.
Sir, specific examples, sir. I want specific examples.
Sir, when we are instructing our students to do something and not to do that, and students are still not doing that, what I am instructing, that time it gives me or it puts me in that situation. That I get
Okay,
angry.
okay, sir. Dr. Rama Vinod Singh is there. Okay, madam, when you get angry with your husband?
Sir, I am audible.
Yeah, yeah.
सर, क्रोध तब उत्पन्न होता है, गुस्सा तब आता है जब हमारी इच्छा पूर्ति नहीं होती। जैसे अभी हम चाहते हैं कि बच्चे क्लास में अटेंशन दे पढ़ें और हम पढ़ा रहे हैं और बच्चे जो है मोबाइल यूज करते हैं और आपस में हंसते हैं और जब पूछने पे नहीं बताते हैं तो गुस्सा आता है। और घर में भी जब बच्चे पढ़ाई हम चाहते हैं कि बच्चे पढ़ें, एग्जाम है, और वो पढ़ने के बजाय मोबाइल या टैब देख रहे होते हैं या फिल्म देख रहे होते हैं तो गुस्सा।
Right, madam. Right, madam. Rajshekhar sir. Rajshekhar sir, when you get angry?
ಸರ್ ಒಂದು ನಮ್ಮ ಲೈಬ್ರರಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸಿಪ್ಲಿನ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಸಿಟ್ಟು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ.
Okay, okay. When the discipline is what you call not maintained or when the discipline is not followed, you get angry. Now remember, all of you said, okay, you get disturbed or angry or frustration, and most of the time, again, I'm not accusing you. Don't take it very personally. Have you tried to understand the student's mentality? Because one part is right, you get angry, you understand your emotions. But did we try to understand the student's emotions? Have you tried to make an attempt? For example, one of the participants said that a student is wandering around in the campus but not attending the classes. Yes, definitely it's a serious issue. But have you discussed about this? What makes a person for absenting from the class? The moment you start interrogation or if you start discussing with the student who is absenting, I think you are improving your emotional intelligence rather than just accusing the person is not coming. And again, I'm not telling not take anything personal. I'm telling I'm trying to talk from the student's point of view. When the student, one of the North Indian madam said, when the students watch mobile in the class and laugh themselves, I said, should we give that option for the students to watch mobile in the class? That means, have we understood the situation? And why the students have to speak inside the class? Have we made some arrangements to avoid them? So there are a lot of things would be there within us to manage. But first of all, before getting into anger over them or angry over them, I would consider, can we talk to them? What is wrong? Suppose they may not be understanding your content part, that's why they are disturbed. I'm still not supporting the students. I'm taking a view from the student point. Why? Because sometimes if the content is tough, they might lose track on your class. They might talk what you call talking to themselves, which might be irritating for you. Can happen. So there are several times which we unnecessarily think that which is not there, which is happening. So be careful about it. So as most of you said, when the expected things not happen. Now this, when you talk about that expected things, what is that expectation is more important. And the next level is whether that expectation can be fulfilled by the other party. And if the other party is not fulfilled that expectation, is something wrong in you that the other party is not fulfilling that expectation? Be your student, be your spouse, be your child, doesn't matter. Are we going somewhere wrong? And the next level is by getting angry, is the solution is final. Think about that. By getting angry, we blast students, and is the solution is going to come out or is going to be negative? Or much before that, can you take a patience, sit with the student and with the problem student and talk with them and try to understand them what is your expectation so that they can accordingly fulfill your expectation. And remember, today's students, they don't bend by force. I think you have to use a lot of tactics. You have to use your emotion intelligence. Earlier, how we were treated, especially in primary schools and all, even high schools, were beaten up badly. You believe it or not? I was beaten up very badly because of a mischievous act, even in what you call primary school or high school, and you cannot even report at home that I was beaten up. Then more beatings come from parents that teachers has you have done something definitely wrong. I think you have experienced this. So
Yes, sir.
now,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I have got several times, and if I cry and go home that I was beaten up by a teacher, they will add 2 more beatings or 3 more or more beatings. That what kind of person you are. But today's students are not like that. Because today's parents are also not like that. If the child is beaten up without even what you call having the thorough inquiry, the parents go and fight with the management or with the teacher. Why did you punish my child? So that also can happen. So that is why there are several issues which will be discussed. Now I'll say whatever you wanted to tell, a big list will be there. You can check this anger producing situations. It could be a specific person or an event. Definitely, if you don't like a person who is very specific, looking at his face only, you get angry. You are taking class and every day some events are happening in the college, which is happening exactly at your work hour or your teaching hour. Now definitely you get angry because you're not able to finish your syllabus. Or anything, some event happening early morning, 5 o'clock only, some mics and all, till goes till late. I think definitely you get angry. Then the insults, nobody can tolerate because the insults which could affect our ego, so-called the self. Stress and worries. What about tomorrow? What is the pressure, the demand you have, and the worries like anxiety? Tomorrow, what happens? Definitely, they produce anxiety in you. Disappointment. Yes, you wanted to get something not happening. Annoyance, getting angry. All this produce this one. Anger, fears, unknown situations, resentment. Something you wanted to get, you're still not getting it. Frustration, you are blocked. Definitely, you get angry. When you're rejected, yes. When your presence is no more required by others, you feel frustrated, you feel hurt. And when you're embarrassed for no reason, some people are there to embarrass you. So at that time, it will produce what you call anger. When you what you call your positions being taken by someone or they're broken, I'm going to your home life. You bought an expensive what you call item at home and you as a decorated item, and your child goes and breaks it. How much anger you get? Are you happy? Definitely not. Or somebody just picks up and goes, then what happens? You get angry. Jealousy is another biggest part. I don't have it, other person has it. I feel jealous. And whenever other person speaks about that person, we get anger because we are having jealousy over it. Then when you're being teased, also yes. When you're being teased, also we get angry. And when other people talk unnecessarily about us, definitely it brings a lot of anger. Then we downgrade ourselves. Sometimes what happens is self-esteem. We value ourselves, that is a self-esteem. How much we value ourselves, how much we add value attached to ourselves, psychological value. When it goes down, then it brings the two concepts called as inferiority and insecurity. When we are under both conditions, because of the low self-esteem, which leads to inferiority and insecurity, definitely produces anger. Grief, you lost something, and it could be a short-term grief or long-term grief. Yes, brings anger. Home life. The moment again, I'm not what do you call targeting anyone there or pointing out anyone there. Some people don't want to go home because the moment they see the what do you call the spouse face or the child face, they get angry. I don't know for what reason. Sometimes they don't like the home life, a kind of home environment. When the home environment is not being liked or when it's not comfortable, that also brings a lot of anger in the person. It could be either way. It could be from the husband side or this one. And the moment you see the child is playing with the mobile, you feel like going and what do you call blasting it or throwing or breaking it. But you know the effect later, because nowadays again the children also started developing the mind games. And how many of you know about this? So during this part, what happens? Your anger is sometimes going to be negative. You are being, especially if it's a single child or one or two children. Nowadays, children start threatening the parents. This also happened. I think you may have enough anecdotes where, because being a psychology department, we get a lot of such cases. The child is threatening the parent that it will leave home or it will run away or elope with someone. And they want to punish you rather than you want to punish them. Because of this fear also, you might keep quiet, but it might produce anger in you. So all these are different kinds of anger producing situations. And with the students, definitely, as you said, there are a big list of things. One is punctuality when it's missing, when the student is not doing his job appropriately, not what you call submitting the what you call IA or assignments and all on time, not submitting the records on time, and unnecessarily wasting time. A serious teacher definitely get angry. Then unnecessarily teasing, being talked about you in the behind, which is totally what you call irrelevant, but definitely you get angry. And nowadays the students' lifestyle is changed, so there is a need to change within us also. So that's where I leave to you. So there are a lot of what you call anger producing situations which brings us anger. Now, having all those anger producing situations, how to deal with the anger? We are going to go step by step. Now you get a what you call signal that you are getting angry. So in the next sessions we are going to continue with the same thing. The first thing is, can you avoid the anger triggering situation? So that's why we usually say, or in our what you call a stress management program or in the anger management program, we usually give a tip. When you think that you are going to get out of control, out of control, you think that situation is going to be bad for you, immediately vacate the place. You can avoid 90% of the what you call tragedies or negatives. The moment you feel, I'm underlining the word, moment you feel that something is going to happen because of your anger, better you vacate the place.
Yes, sir. Can I interrupt you for a
Yes,
moment?
yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Yes, sir. Sir, as you said just now, like to avoid that particular anger situation at that point of time, we have to better stay away at that. I mean,
Yes, madam. Continue, madam.
away from that place for time being. But
Yeah.
then, how this particular solution can be implemented in a classroom setup where there is some kind of important function or a program going on in the auditorium, and students are misbehaving, they are not showing enough respect or attention or pay attention to the resource person. That at that point of time, how you express anger or how you make students fall back in place?
Madam, now if you are to listen to the previous slides, we have now you have to use your emotion intelligence, learn from mistakes, because you have experienced this session once earlier. Now the next time you have to be very careful. Why? Because you know that who are the students are making this, or who are the students involved in this. Can you have more surveillance on them? One part. Then you are not alone at the what you call on the event or the venue which is happening. So there are other teachers and other supporting staff also. Can you involve them, and can you make them seated in the different positions, not only in the front, so that the students have what you call aware that okay, people are around them and they are watching them.
Yes, sir.
Huh? So this is the way, like we have learned from a mistake. Earlier, we had a problem that everybody will be in the front and nobody took care of the things which were happening. Now, it's a very good question which you asked. Now, what to do inside the class?
Yeah, we have to take them to the venue priorly, giving all the instructions that how they are expected to behave. But in spite of that, students I mean, they do this kind of mischievous behavior.
It happened, madam. It happened. I'll tell you. It happened. Even in our
So
college
how,
happened.
I mean, at the end of the remains unsolved, sir. That is the
Yes, madam. It has happened, and many times resource persons got angry and they have left the situation. That also happened because with this kind of crowd we cannot manage. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Many times resource persons have got angry because what kind of students you have. Now, this is where you are going to use your what you call knowledge. And that is why in many of the departments, they don't conduct any what you call events. Why? Because they know the moment they conduct event, something will happen. Now, what is the reason for that? At the second level, now that event is over, but you know the entire thing was disturbed. Now, you know who are the person responsible for it. So what is the next action? What's the next action?
Yeah, that's what we have to focus more on them, and time and again we have to remind them that this was done earlier. You are not expected to repeat the same thing next time.
Much more than that. Simple warning is not enough.
Yeah.
They may be suspended for a few days and put big on the notice board, so that it will be a lesson for others.
Yes, sir.
They're not completely expelled from the college, but they will be suspended, or the parents have to be called. And still, if they do it, then they have to be expelled. That's a different thing. But that is what you're talking about, what you call in a big situation with a big crowd. I'm talking about when you're at what you call when with the minimum number of people. Okay. That's why I said try to avoid them. It can happen.
I have simple tips for this, sir.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Just giving a stop conversation and giving a serious look on them. And that is enough, sir, to keep at them and to be at alert.
Sir, the madam's issue was much more serious. Inside class, yes, that tip works. Sir. But I'm talking about the big thing, which in the event, where a resource person you are invited from outside and the resource person is talking and people are creating what you call nuisance there, especially students. In that context, we are discussing. In the classroom, yes. What is going to happen is what you call that is the punishment part of it, where even it's a verbal what you call gesture, where you are staring at them that whatever is happening is not right. That's what you meant to say. But here, it's more of a personal in nature. What I'm trying to talk about it, dealing with the anger. Try to avoid them. Next level is learn how to deal with them. Now that is where what you call dealing with that. We'll be having more discussion in the subsequent session. Then learn how to put your feelings into words. Now, can you write down the what you call make a journal? Can you journaling to explore and name the emotions, what it has been happening? So, in that case, whether you are hurt, confused, or guilt, shame, anything. Now, in such cases, how to go ahead? From avoiding to dealing to learning to, so many things can be vertical happen in the same way. So dealing with the anger, we just started now. Don't worry, we will be discussing more about it with your own classroom and outside examples. That's why I said, why to avoid. The moment you're avoided, I think 90% of the things which are going to happen negative are blocked. But if you also enter into the scene and try to continue more, it ended up with the more arguments. And that more arguments, either verbal abuse may turn into physical violence. That's why there are murders. There are deaths, not because of intentional murders. There could be accidental murders, not intentional. Even the law of court also takes this into consideration, whether it's intentional murder or it is situational. All those things can happen. So anyway, we'll be discussing more. We'll have a break because 11:15 is your break, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The next aspect we are going to discuss is controlling our anger. Okay, in different ways. So we'll be discussing more about this along with the self-awareness. So, but again, at the next session, we are going little fast because I think already we are going slow because of the discussion. But anyway, we'll try to finish. We'll be meeting at 11:45.
Yes, sir.
Okay.